All right, so getting started, we're at week 14 in this semester. We're going to continue with digital painting today. We started the refined painting at the end of last class, but now it's Monday, so it's always good on Monday to remind yourself where we are in the course. So I've opened up the course outline. Remember, you can print this out. You can view it, whether you're online or not. It's a PDF for you. But today, assignment 7 is due. We're finishing up Unit 14. And we're going to start Unit 15, which is our final assignment 8, our conceptual project worth 10 points, 10% of your overall grade, which will be graded by class critique. So today, when I introduce it, I'll talk through the proving ground number 4, which is where you come up with your idea. You write it down in a sentence. You do 3 thumbnail sketches that are potential solutions for that idea, and you post them to proving ground number 4. Then next class, I'll talk to you individually about them in an individual critique. You'll post a refined sketch, and then you'll be done with proving ground number 4 and ready to start work on the final project. Then we have Thanksgiving break. From Thursday to Sunday, the campus is closed. And then a week from today, that's when we're going to be working on our final projects, writing our artist statements, printing out our portfolios for the end of the semester, and printing our final projects so that on December 4th, that is when we have our gallery day. That is our last class period, a week from Wednesday. And that's when assignment 8 is due printed at the beginning of class, right? So you can put it up. If you want it matted, you have your artist statement next to it. And that will be the last 10 percentage points of our classwork. And then all that's left after that critique, we'll do a little review for the final exam, is the final exam, which is going to be on December 11th from 9 a.m. to 11:30. Right? So it's all in the course outline. You can always refer to that. And that's worth the last 7 points of the class. So let's continue with assignment 7. To remind you, I'll just go through the full unit. This is unit 14, digital painting. And part of this unit is question of the day number 4. So you have until next class to get all your questions of the day done. We've had 4 through the semester. This has to do with what sort of difficulties does digital art commonly run into about its value and validity that traditional art media doesn't usually have to deal with. Synthetic media, aka AI, authenticity, authorship, mass production. So as an example, I have art appreciation students that are online doing their art projects at the end of the semester. And even though they're directed not to, some of them use AI to create them, right? So I have to explain to them the difference between work created by your own hand versus work created by an algorithm, right? And how that violates the student integrity policies of the college. And that's because it is synthetic media. It doesn't have the same expressive qualities that human work with their own hand, for all its flaws, has. So that's the whole point, is AI work is not owned by the creator. It's actually not owned by the person who designed the software. It's considered an act of God, and it's not really controllable for personal expression without a lot of extra work. So this is a really important question for our time. So I want to hear your thoughts on it. What sort of difficulties does digital art, this could be marketing campaigns, etc., right? So I have students that work in communications and marketing, and their portfolios are all hand-done work, right? But their clients are asking them to do AI campaigns. But the problem is when they do AI campaigns for their client, they can't show it as their personal work to get new work because it's not something they can replicate. So all of this is a big issue in the digital art world. With that said, I talked through in the beginning of this assignment how you can use AI for ideation, to get ideas for how you want to express yourself. You just can't use it as your finished work product. And that's something my art appreciation students struggle to understand sometimes. So you had 2 options of subject matter to test your digital painting, to get introduced to it as an art form. One was a portrait of a person from the shoulders up, or an animal from head to toe, right? Now, the whole point is to find your own kind of approach to digital painting, your own style. And to do that, I asked for 2 bits of reference. One that is the photographic reference, but instead of just trying to copy a photograph, we're trying to find our own painting style, right? So the second is some sort of stylistic reference, right? It could be even just something like this, or something like this. So far, kind of catch us up on this Monday, I had a lot of photo reference. I had a lot of stylistic references that I was kind of interested in playing with. And I started with a base sketch and base painting, which gets rid of all the white. Kind of gives me a tonal background. And then my rough painting, which I did last class, building up on that. And now I'm going to continue. The last thing I did was I added some accessories, because you always paint the accessories after you have the basic anatomy painted in. So assignment 7, in progress. Find my PSD file. Here it is. Open it up. And you'll see all your layers. And you can see my glasses as my kind of accessory reference, these sunglasses that are on top. Now, what's great about having those glasses separate as a new layer, a new accessory, is I can always, looks like these are incorporated with the glasses. Let me make a new folder. There we go. I can always duplicate those and then use my compositing skills to fit them on the face a little bit better. So distort, kind of push and pull them, get them to fit on the face the way I want. And all those layers will move together. Then I see which one is better. Right, I can even make a duplicate and then merge it. Curious if this will work with all the different blending modes. And it kind of works. And then I can even do things like warp it. So if I want to pinch the middle together a little bit more, I can do that. Pushing and pulling it like cookie dough. But that's only after your kind of basic painting is done. All right. So, what if... Now I'm playing with the idea of refined painting, so we're going to learn about what that is. And what refined painting entails is using your custom brush or making a new one. So I'm going to go over how to make brushes again. You use a pressure-sensitive, hard, round pressure brush. You set it to the default so it's black on white. You go to a new layer, and you make a bunch of marks. For refined painting, I like to leave more space, kind of between the marks. You'll see why. So that it works as a blending brush a little bit more. Some people like kind of a fan brush shape for this. Then all you have to do is select it. Again, this is on a new layer. And then you say Edit, and you say Define Brush Preset. And I'll call this a blending brush. Okay, now this blending brush I can turn off. I can label it. It's good to save your brushes for moving between different programs like Photopea. And I'm going to change its brush settings, which I can find under Window, and brush settings. So the first one I want to do is shape dynamics. I'm going to play with its size jitter a little bit, see how immediately that changes it from looking so copy-pasty to having a little bit more organic variation. Play with its angle jitter, and play with its control to be based on pressure. Then I'm going to play with its roundness, and that should do it. Yeah, that could be a nice blending brush for me. Now what I'm going to do is say edit, define brush preset. Nope, never mind. I thought it might let me save these settings. But if I just save my Photoshop file now, it should save this brush in the bottom. So it's right there whenever I need it. And I can use this brush for any tool, not just the paint tool. I can use it for the eraser. I can use it for the smudge tool. Ones I'll talk about as we're getting into refined painting. Okay, now the big difference with refined painting is I'm going to use it at a much lower opacity. I'm going to use it in the 30s. Let me show you how this brush can work as an eraser, which is different than any of the special brushes within Photoshop. Those are only linked to one tool. When you make your own brush, you can use it for any tools you desire. So I'm using my special brush. I'm going to check its brush settings. And you see how it lost its shape dynamics because I'm on a different tool. So that's always something you want to be able to change. It's not difficult. You just go in there, you mess with it. Okay, and now I'm going to go to that glasses layer, and I'm going to start blending away at this lower opacity, revealing those eyes a little bit. Now, refined painting is also about blending edges. So if I want these highlights to be a little bit more blended, I'm going to go to my brush, and I'm going to hold down Option, steal a color, and then paint with this low opacity from the edges of that brush. And you can see how all those colors start to blend together. So I'm going to lock all these layers. Lock every layer that I am not painting on. And this last layer I'm going to call refined paint. And this is usually my last paint layer. And I'm going to save it. And sometimes, because I'll be on this layer for a little bit until I finish, I'll mark that green so I know where I'm finishing things off. And this is the brush, or this is the layer that I'll be a little bit more zoomed in on, because this is the layer where I want to know what the final paint surface is. So I'm starting around the eyes just because they are a major focal point for refinement. And I'm kind of figuring out what my finish is going to be. So finish is an interesting idea in digital painting. It's that every area needs to feel as finished as every other area. So I'm also going to bring up my navigator. If you remember what that is, you go to Window, Navigator. It shows you, there it is, the image. Make it a little bit bigger there. So the whole of the area and areas that might need to be finished off a little bit more. So like the